Welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today, I, Bancroft, will be doing another deck profile, but not just any deck. I will be playing the launch deck. It is a very interesting deck that likes to like flip around and do. Actually, I'm not gonna do it the whole video. But like always, hit those buttons. They're there for a reason, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. All right, so
I almost said bless you. I thought you sneezed.
Launch. The great thing about launch is that it draws a lot. Now, like any good red Earthling deck that draws a lot, it is a 5k and a 10k. But that's okay, because of what it can do. Alright, so launch. Once per turn, when you combo draw one card, does not necessarily mean with this leader. It could be with any card on your battlefield or during your opponent's turn as well. So as long as you combo once per turn, you're good to go. Now, when a card in your life is flipped face up by one of your red card skills, you may flip this card over. If you do, draw one card, and you can't flip it back over for the remainder of turn. So once you flip over, it now has the ability when it swings or when it attacks, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 5,000 power for the battle. Now that's really great if you're playing against a Black Mass Same who likes to stop players from free playing cards, using skills. Whoops, that belongs up here. Alright, so now it still retains the once per turn when you combo, draw one card. So what I like to do, if you make it happen, if you said you swing of this, combo, reveal a card, flip over. So you draw 2 cards already. Combo, draw 3 cards there. So you could draw a lot potentially with this deck in one attack. Now, same auto, when one of your cards is flipped face up by one of your red card skills, you may flip this card over if you do draw one card and you can't flip it back over for a turn. So I always like to swing with this side launch first and then go back to the side afterwards. But what makes this deck run is the ability to flip your cards in your life over. And we start that off with the Unison Bulma, because Unison Bulma has a +1 activate main that allows you to load the cards you want to flip into your life. And then, of course, you take a card from your life, put it in your hand, which is pretty cool. But blocker, auto, once per turn. When your leader card is a red Earthling only card with 10,000 power or less, when a marker is removed from this card by an opponent's attack, flip one of your cards in your life face up. At the end of your turn, flip all face up cards back face down. You're going to see that every card that flips a card up in your life immediately says flip it back down at the end of the turn. So, Bulma, you use this to load up your cards, and then you use it to flip cards face up. Other cards we use, Launch from the set. The 4-drop Launch. If your leader card is red Earthling, 10,000 power or less, when this card is using a combo, flip one card face up. But activate Battle, which is really cool. If your leader card is red, or Earthling only, with 5,000 power, combo with this card from your drop area. At the end of your turn, send this card from your drop area back to your warp. So, granted, when you do that, your leader has to be on the front side in order to get that off, because it does state it has to have a battle of a power of 5,000 power. So, but once you do that, you flip a life, and you can flip it back over. So, it obviously depends on how the turn works out for you. But then once you use that activate battle, you have to warp the card immediately afterwards. Alright, next we go into our 1-drop Bulma, which, when this card is played, you draw 1 card, so it helps with the idea of just getting stuff out there. It's a great turn 1 play as well. Then, if your leader card is red Earthling, only with 10,000 power or less, when this card is used in a combo, flip up one of your life once again. So it's another way of just comboing a card and flipping your life up. So, alright, those are taken care of. The cards we want to flip up, I went with 3 of the Master Roshis, which is a blocker revenge. It's always nice on your opponent's turn when they attack at you and say you combo, flip this over, pay 1 energy, play it to the board, and then they swing again, depends on what the card is. You're like, okay, cool. If it's a battle card you don't want on the board, cool, I block it. Good enough. Went with 3 of the Son Goku because I like the idea of crit. Stopping your opponent from getting resources is always a nice thing to do. So I like to play the Goku and just swing this into my opponent's leader. That's it. I went with 2 of the Tians because sometimes a double strike is nice to have, especially if your opponent has a Unity you don't want on the board, or if your opponent has 2 life and you can get this on the board during your turn for 1 energy. Go for it. And the last card I play that I like to flip face up is the Son Goku Eye for an Eye. For 2 red energy, if your leader card is red Earthling only, when this card is flipped in your life, flip face up in your life by one of your red skills, you may place this card, you may place the top card from your life, yada yada. to top card of your deck to your life. There we go. And then you play this card to the field. What's great about this card is that, I just went blank. Sorry. Auto, once per turn, when your opponent activates a counter skill, deal 1 damage to them. So it doesn't matter what turn it is. If they are swinging at you, and I say, cool, I'm going to counter that, and they turn around and say, okay, I'm going to do a counter. Or if I play a battle card on their turn, they try to counterplay it, they have to take a life for that. Or if they negate during my turn, they got to take a life for that as well. And with all these cards being flipped face up in my life, I also play 3 of the launch, which plays from your hand. So for 1 energy, if your leader card is red, Earthling only, when your leader card is flipped to its backside, you may play this card from your hand. When this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 15,000 power or less and KO it. So it gets rid of problem cards. Simple as that. Speaking of getting cards on the board fairly cheaply, I do play 3 of the counterplay Yamcha's Merciless Barrage, which when my opponent plays a battle card, I just play this card to the board. Now, if they outright pay for the card, this does hit the board before the card is played, and then you neg 2 battle cards that are already on the board. But if your opponent plays a card with a skill, you play this during counter timing window 2, then you can target the card that was just played with a said skill. And because I'm playing a red deck, I had to bring out the old Bulma out for adventuring super combos. The leader card is red, you may, and you and your opponent have a total of 8 or less life. When this card is used in a combo, draw 1 card. Then if it's your turn, choose up to 1 red Earthling card with an energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. So, targets for that are the Bulma's Confident Friend. So if I could freely play this card for 1 energy, for a super combo, I'm going to, because it allows you to draw a card. I have another card, but before I go in there, activate main for this Bulma. This Bulma has to be on the board. You can choose one of your mono red battle cards or unisons, and it gets plus 5,000 power for a turn. So it helps boost another card. But I would also play Baba. Now, the thing about Baba is that you gotta be careful who you choose on your target for this one. So when you play this card, choose one of your Earthling cards in your leader area or battle area. Keep in mind, if you choose your leader, you turn off a lot of these cards that allow you to flip your life face up because they do have restrictions to the battle power of the card. So be careful when you do that. But what's great about this card is that you free play this one with a super combo, then you turn around and you combo this off. I mean, if you did everything right, let's say you comboed with a launch from your drop, boom, you draw for that, flip the card face up, you flip your leader over, you draw for that right there, then you super combo, you draw for super combo, you draw for the launch card, then you play the Baba, then you combo with the Baba, you draw for that. So I mean, there's a lot of potential draws right there. Now with all these battle cards going to the board fairly cheap or even potentially free, you gotta play Merciless Towel, at least in my opinion you do. Activate main if your leader card is red and you have 3 or more non-token battle cards in play, play this card from your hand and it gains crit. So it's another card that could pressure your opponent where don't combo on it unless you really want to, but it forces your opponent to either take the crit or have to waste resources in their hands to protect themselves. Now earlier with all these beautiful 1-drops in my drop now, boom. Now granted, like I said, launch can be played activate battle. That's fine. For our negate packages, I went with 2 of the Android 17s. Negate the attack, then play this card. Then choose up to 1 red battle card with an energy cost of 1 in your drop area and play it. So, during your opponent's turn, if I just negate with this, I can play any one of these back to the board. And like I said, depending on the turn, I could choose the Baba. If I need to boost my leader, I will. If I can get away with not doing it, don't do it then. But it just helps you bring battle cards back to the board for potential resource gaining, either being the Bulma, or like I said, the Baba, or even the super combo, the re-super combo. Play 2 topos because, as you can see, this deck draws a lot. I feel like 2 topos were obviously enough, but if you're not familiar with topo, it's one of the best red negates. You choose one other card in your hand, place it in your drop area, negate the attack, and play this card. When you play this card, your opponent decides to make another attack. They have to choose 2 cards from their hand and place in the drop area each time. So that's pretty awesome. I went with 2 of the after image techniques. I mean, once again, it's just the deck draws a lot, and if I wanted to tap out, I can use after image by sparking and taking a life to use this effect. I play 2 of the Master Roshi's Mafuba. I'm going to have Earthling on the board 90% of the time. So this right here, for 1 energy, my opponent swings a battle card. I'm like, okay, cool. Now your opponent can't do anything with that card until the end of my my next turn. For more extra cards, I play Wolfang Fist. I play 2 of those. I'm going to have Unison on the board most time as well. So if my opponent swings and they purposely go for my Unison, I'm just going to Wolfang Fist them. Make sure, so if they want to guarantee to hit on my Unison, they're going to have to combo out of it. Or it may just KO the battle card. And last but not least, a Chew. I only play this one mainly because I was like, it's a way for 1 energy to play the launch. But truth be told, in most of my games, this was a charged target. And I feel like this may end up coming out in the final version. But this is where it's sitting at right now. And I completely forgot about my Kaioken's. I played 2 of those as well. Those should have came out earlier. It's a great way of removing my opponent's board. It's a great way of getting pesky problems with 2 energy. So, and with the with the Chews, it's a good idea. I may take them out for exploiting weakness or something like that. It's another way of controlling my opponent's board. Or depending, we don't really do best of 3s at our locals, but I play the negates the way I do to combat most of our locals. You know, if it's a aggro heavy deck, if I just need to get a good card on the board for my follow-up turn, if I need to get rid of a tall card, they're all good choices. And if we ever were to play a best of 3, I would definitely modulate these in the sideboard, depending on what I'm playing against, obviously. But that is roughly 55 cards, if correct, and that is my launch deck. Hope you all enjoyed. Like I said earlier, there's buttons. Click them if you like. But with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. And like always,
read your cards, know your plays. Like always, fluff out.